But Charles Barkley is a massive figure in the basketball world, obviously. That NBA Tonight is the greatest show potentially on television revolving around sports. He, Shaq, the Jet, Ernie are the voices almost at this point of basketball and the NBA. They're the face of the NBA. Now, granted, I understand that Adam Silver has a job doing stuff like that, but if you were to take somebody who's not on that panel of that incredible show and say, hey, this person also a face of the NBA, who would you say? Mark Cuban. Okay, so Mark Cuban, Shaq, and Charles Barkley now have all come out and said basically, scrap the season. We do not need to be doing a March Madness style tournament in Vegas, Orlando. They said it's too dangerous for the players if you don't have a vaccine, the entire thing like that. So now 3 of the biggest faces in the NBA, 3 of them, to whether it's the casual fan or the NBA diehard fan, have said, let's not do it. It feels as if this March Madness thing that was potentially being tossed around in Vegas and Orlando, which seemed like a majestic concept, by the way, just an absolutely legendary concept. If we're going to get a March Madness style run with NBA talent where the stadiums are going to be empty, so the other teams are going to be sitting in there watching, I mean, it would be a cool thing. But in the stand or the sake of safety, they said that it is not a good idea. So with those 3 powerful voices saying, let's not do it, let's assume that this is not going to happen, right? I mean, if Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Mark Cuban are all saying they're probably out on this idea, let's assume this isn't going to happen, although I think it would be absolutely awesome to watch the Lakers win a title right through everybody, which I think would happen eventually.
I was thinking, do these guys have ulterior motives as why they wouldn't want it to come back? And maybe Shaq and Chuck just don't want to come back and do the show. They're really enjoying what they're doing right now. But Mark's on the other side. Mark should want the games to come back just to make some
Mark wants I think Mark wants to be president too.
Yeah, he does.
Which I would vote for him.
Which, by the way, I think a lot of people would, especially after watching his business acumen at Shark Tank. But he has to now think about that though. If you're running for president, every decision you make now is potentially going to get thrown in your face. Right? So in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, let's say here in 4 months from now, we learn something that is completely off of what we currently think. All they'll say to old Mr. Cubes is, oh, you remember whenever you were pioneering for them to get back into the thing whenever this happened. Now, granted, if it goes the opposite direction, people use that against Mark too. You remember whenever you didn't want to open up America again. Yep. So it's kind of like a devil's advocate type thing. And I think he's gearing up for a presidential run, which, by the way, I think anybody who's that good at business and that accomplished and successful should be the people that are presidents of our country. I don't care which side you vote along. I just think we should vote for successful people as opposed to people who haven't had success. That's just, if they can figure out their life, there's probably a reason. Now, I'm not saying I'm too dumb to think that, but if Mark Cuban was to run for president, I think a lot of people would be like, oh, the guy that's on Shark Tank making billion-dollar deals and guy who started from Pittsburgh and went to IU, started his own company, was kind of a foresight, a visionary whenever it comes to the internet, stuff like that. Probably somebody that people will vote for. But then the people against him would be like, well, he's not a politician. He doesn't know this. Well, he's actually succeeded in real life, though. So that's kind of, what are we going for? I don't know. But every decision he makes from here on out is going to be judged for his presidential run inevitably. But it feels like Charles, Shaq, and now Mark, Shaq, and now Charles being against something, probably not going to happen.
Also, a lot of the players and the biggest
buzzkill, by the way,
the biggest named player, LeBron initially said I don't want to play in front of no fans. And that's what the biggest face in the NBA right now.
I believe he said, I ain't playing in front of no fans. No, I forget his exact quote, but he had to walk it back immediately afterwards because they were like, excuse me, you might be playing in front of no fans, and if you would like to continue to make money, you need to do that. And LeBron was like, hey, listen, there's a lot smarter people than me, which, by the way, 100%, that's how we feel as well. But I feel like we're getting on a right path of momentum here towards things going, and then whenever you hear this, it's like, yeah, probably not. Reality kind of comes in and kicks you right in the balls.
Yeah, with some breaking news.
What is it?
Mark Cuban tweeted you.
Mark Cuban tweeted me?
Yeah.
Good or bad?
It's up for debate. We'll see.
Oh, no. Did I ruin my relationship with Mark Cuban?
No, I don't think so.
Is he going to come on the show?
I don't know. Zeke's trying to get him.
Mavs Mark Cuban thinks risking it. The Dallas Mavericks under 77 minutes. Is he coming on the show?
I put a tweet on her. He didn't reply back though.
Oh no!
He probably just didn't know who Zito was.
I don't want to look at it yet because I don't want to know that my relationship with Mark Cuban's ruined.
I think it's growing stronger.
We definitely should come on and talk about it.
Yeah, he should come on and talk about it.
He's followed me for 4 years now, by the way, just waiting for me to accidentally say
You guys have had the same path.
Same path. Pittsburgh, Indiana. He just went on to own teams. I'm just talking
He's
into
older. He's
microphones.
older than you are.
I said I would vote for him, didn't I?
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, I don't think it's. Actually, I think he should come on the show.
What did he say?
FYI, I didn't say I want the season scrapped.
That's all he said?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's not bad.
Ah,
He
we're
needs,
friends.
He needs to come on and clear it up.
I did misquote him, which isn't great.
Did you?
But I would love to talk to Mark Cuban because I think there's a guy who knows a lot. He's on the council, I believe, that the president put together about reopening sports into America. There's a great conversation to be had. And also, because he is on that council and committee to put sports back into America, can't be being misquoted by somebody on the internet. So I apologize for that. But Charles Barkley has come out and said that he would like the season scrapped alongside of Shaq. Did they have that conversation together and then say, yeah, it's a bunch of garbage, man? And they come out and they say they got to get rid of it? It does feel like that. Now, I assume that they, alongside Mark, feel as if it's a bit dangerous until we have an actual answer. Now, if an answer comes, will Charles Barkley and Shaq change their decision? I would assume. But it feels as if they believe that we are nowhere near being able to protect everybody from a potential getting the coronavirus, which is going to become a conversation, I think, for a lot of people moving forward as the world reopens and as sports reopen, is if there isn't a vaccine or something that completely cures or eliminates coronavirus, will things happen? Are we in that? Because I don't know much about much, but I think vaccines take a little bit. Is that going to happen, and will we be able to wait for it? The world will find out.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but also part of Shaq's reasoning was that the season really doesn't matter anyways because whoever wins it is going to have an asterisk. Do you agree with that?
No, I think the asterisk would be like, hey, there was a worldwide pandemic in the middle of this. So, yes, there would be an asterisk, but I don't think it has to be a negative asterisk. I kind of stand on Mike Greenberg's side of this whole thing. Greenberg said it would have an asterisk, basically, but this would be a great accomplishment. You're the only NBA team to ever win a March Madness style tournament. I mean, that's like, I think it's almost like a cooler thing. It'll definitely be different than any other NBA title, and Shaq's won them, and I would never, ever want to act like I'm smarter in the whole world of basketball than Shaq or Charles Barkley. But for me, I think that is something you would look at as cool. This team, now, I think it affects free agency.
Yeah.
I think it affects going into next season, teams getting acclimated to their old team. I mean, it's just, that would be a very weird thing, I think, is where Shaq and Charles Barkley are potentially coming from, because the business side of it is a real thing as well, and also the health in the entire thing. But let's eliminate those real life things that are happening: families, business, health. Let's eliminate that stuff, which is impossible to do. I think that would be a cool thing to be able to say you won the NBA's round robin or bracket tournament, basically.
And it seems like they could still expedite it. You know, I mean, it's not going to go like where the season initially was going to go. Like, they could, if they did it this way, they could wrap it up pretty quickly, couldn't they?
I think so. And they said it doesn't have to be a best of 7 series, but they did say they could do a best of 7 because of everybody will be in the place. There won't be travel. They'll all be staying in the same area. It'll be like old school AAU tournaments that all the guys played in as kids and growing up in high school and everything like that as a fan. And this is also if we eliminate the health concerns, which obviously you can't do, but if let's just pop into a world where you eliminate the health concerns and the business concerns and the future of other players and teams. Let's eliminate that. I think it would be electric to watch.
Yeah, Silver said he still wants 7-game series, and that could move faster with no travel playing Orlando or Vegas. So it might be there's no days off potentially.
So I think Adam Silver and Mark Cuban. By the way, Mark Cuban say I didn't say I want to scrap the season is good news for our thoughts of that season happening. Because I think if it was Mark, Shaq, and Charles, I think we have limited chance of this actually happening. Mark, though, sits on that board, and Mark's an owner, obviously, talks to Adam Silver probably on a much more regular basis than anybody else. He didn't say he wants to scrap it. It feels as if they potentially want to keep that moving, which is good news for us. I mean, that's good news for the fans. Now, have to do it in the proper fashion, which I think Adam Silver and Mark Cuban both believe in. And will they be able to accomplish that? Not 100% sure.